Alrighty, that was the audience, and I will now begin my speech. Oh, the thrill of the chase as I soar through the air, with the snitch up ahead and the wind in my hair. As I draw even closer, the crowd gives a shout, but then comes a bludger, and I am knocked out by the poet Ingorf the Iambic. He speaks of Quidditch, a popular game from the magical world of Harry Potter, a game that has even crossed over into our Muggle world. Quidditch has its own history from its early days in the marsh to the pitch it is played on today. When working at the daycare, I had the privilege of playing with some fellow Muggles, non-magical folk, in the school-age classroom. We created our own bludgers and our own quaffle and had our own snitch running around. I wish to take you all through the historical journey of Quidditch, its past and its present, and how it is played. We learn from Oliver Wood in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone that there are 7 players on each team. 3 are called chasers. They use a bright red ball, about the size of a soccer ball, called the quaffle. The chasers throw the quaffle to each other and try to get it through one of these 3 hoops on either end of the pitch. 10 points every time the quaffle goes through. There is a keeper. His job is to fly around the hoops and defend them. Then there are 2 beaters on the team. They use a small club, like so, to keep the bludgers, which are 2 jet black balls, a little smaller than the quaffle. They fly around and are enchanted to just knock off players from their brooms. Their job is to keep the bludgers from hitting their own teammates and perhaps knocking off a member of the other team. And the last is the seeker. Their job is to catch the golden snitch. It is a tiny ball about the size of a walnut, silvery wings, and it is enchanted to fly around. It is super fast and very difficult to see. When the seeker catches the snitch, he earns his team 150 points. And a game of Quidditch only ends when the snitch is caught. Quidditch was not always this way. According to Quidditch Through the Ages, it was on the edge of Quidditch Marsh in the 11th century that several wizards were seen flying around with an inflated bladder, trying to throw it into a bunch of trees. While they were doing that, they had enchanted several rocks to zoom around and bewitch them to try to knock the players off the broom. Here we see the early days of the game. It wasn't until the middle of the 13th century that the snitch was introduced. So in 1269, a snidget, a small, round, fast-flying creature, was brought to one of these games. The chief of Wizards' Council offered 150 galleons, wizard money, to the player who caught it during the game. From then on, the creatures were brought to each game. It was at that point that they added the new player whose sole purpose was to catch it. Now, the 150 galleons were eventually changed to the 150 points. And it was decided then that that's how they would end the game when the snidget was caught. Sadly, each time it was caught, it was usually killed. It is a tiny bird. They grasp it in their hands, squish it. So that would be the end of the game. Now, once the snidget population began to decline, they needed a new solution. That was when Wizard Bozeman Wright, a skilled metal charmer, created a ball that mimicked the behavior and flight patterns of the snitch. He called it the Golden Snitch. Next, we enter the 14th century, where Quidditch goes from a game in the marsh, where there are bewitched rocks flying around, to a 500-foot long, 150-foot wide, oval-shaped pitch. The quaffle went from a bladder to the red leather ball, and the bludgers from rocks to the iron balls bewitched to chase everyone. And then there's the Golden Snitch. It was introduced to the Department of Magical Games and Sports. They decided they liked the game, and they set out the rules. They started the leagues. It started with 13 teams between Britain and Ireland. Shortly afterwards, it goes from Britain and Ireland to the rest of the world, its popularity spread. It wasn't long until the Quidditch World Cup was established and held every 4 years for teams worldwide to compete. The popularity of Quidditch has now moved beyond the magical world and into the Muggle world. According to usquidditch.org, Quidditch has become a contact sport with a unique mix from rugby, dodgeball, and tag. Athletes must play with a broom between their legs at all times. The chasers use a volleyball, and they can run with it, throw it, or kick it to teammates. The beaters use dodgeballs to knock out the other players. If you get hit by a dodgeball, you have to run all the way to your goalpost, tag it before you're allowed to come back in. Then there's the snitch, a neutral player dressed in yellow with a tiny ball attached to his belt. He randomly runs around while the seekers try to get that ball off of his belt. Once again, that is the only way to end the game. In conclusion, a lovely poem by Kinyara was written. Quidditch is, for all we know, a sporty magic wonder show, with room for every speed of flight, for every age and every height. The nimbus is the latest fashion, 2001 the sportsman passion. To catch the snitch with a shine of gold, and make the enemies looking old, by winning with one stretch of hand, that's safely landing on the land. While bludgers make your job tough, a hit by one is really rough. So beaters need to keep an eye that everyone stays safe and fly. Until the seeker's job is done, it's chaser's part to have some fun and score the quaffle through the ring while fans on the outside of the field line sing and bet on their favorite team, but try to be fair and don't be mean. The game needs to be free of spells till the end you hear the bells. That one of the players got the ball, the golden, the snitch, to end it all. Thank you.
Mom?
Now please smile at the camera, audience.
Oh.